Okay, welcome. We're back into the building code book. We're looking at chapter 5. We're talking about decks, and we're starting out at R507.4. And what this chart tells us is spacing of floor joists in reference to the type of decking board that we use. So if you look over here, you see there's an 1.25" decking board. And that tells us if we use that, we have to be 16" on centers, or if we do diagonals with them, we have to do 12" on centers. 1.25" decking board, that's the nominal size. Some people actually call that 5/4 board. Whatever you reference it is to, it's the same thing. Interesting enough, though, that board, even though it says an 1.25", because it does say nominal right here, right here. That's not the actual size. The actual size is 1 inch. So if you buy an 1.25" decking board, or if you call 5/4 board, the actual thickness is 1 inch. Okay, move down the chart a little bit, then you see the 2 inch. You see if you go with 2 inch nominal thickness, so it'd be like a 2x4 or 2x6, you can go up to 24" on center spacings, or 16 if you go diagonal. Okay, the third option is to composite. It tells you to look at the codes up here. These codes above this is all about composite, some of which don't, really are too much of concern because, the flame index and stuff like that, that's pretty well taken care of from your manufacturer. But at termite resistance, plastic boards and stuff are typically pretty good when it goes to termite resistance, but not always. But what I wanted to tell you is pay attention to manufacturer's instructions, because that is what's going to tell you whether you can be 16" on center or 24" on center. Manufacturer's instructions. So basically that's what it's saying here is when you see this, it's telling you to go up here and look, but what it tells you is see your manufacturer specifications. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is floor joist sizing. You have two charts here. This one is actually beam sizing, and this one is floor joist. I want to take a look at them both real fast. First thing I want to highlight to you is no cantilever and with a cantilever. So what that means is if you look at this picture here, this one right here has a cantilever, and that's this portion right here. That's the part that hangs over past the beam. And of course this one right here has no cantilever because it goes flush right to the end. So cantilever and no cantilever. That illustration right there shows you what a cantilever is as it relates to a deck. Okay, and what I want to tell you is it's a 1/4 rule. That cantilever can't hang over more than 1/4 the size of the floor joist. So if you have a floor joist that's 12 foot, your cantilever can only be 3 foot. It's the 1/4 rule. Okay, so that helps you size that cantilever. Okay, so looking at this chart here, let's just say we have no cantilevers. We're using spruce, pine, fir, and we're using 2x8s. If I go 16" on centers, I'm allowed to span 11'1". So that's how that chart works. This is for floor joists. And if you go over here, you can see that with a cantilever, I could span 9'5" to the cantilever. Okay, actually that seems more restrictive, but it's not, because now remember you can still go 25% past that. So that actually becomes like close to 12 foot with that cantilever. So anyways, that is the floor joist sizing. That's how you size floor joists in a deck, the deck only. Okay, let's move to the other chart here, beams. So when building a deck, I'm going to draw a very crude drawing, but sometimes I'll do the floor joists in a different color. These are the floor joists. And you have sorry about the drawing, but it gets the point across. You have the deck beams. And that's what we're talking about. Like, that's a beam, this is a supporting beam, and this is a supporting beam. Because that's carrying the load of the floor joists. Okay? So this is the chart we use to size those. Okay? And it's important to realize that this is based off of deck joist spans. Because the theory is the bigger the deck is, the bigger the floor joist span is. The bigger the beam you're going to need to support it. So, I don't know if I said that clear enough, but basically what it amounts to is, as the floor joists get bigger, your beam is also going to have to get bigger because it's carrying a bigger load. Maybe that makes sense. But that's why the floor joist is an important input for a number here. So if you look at this and you know if you're using, I don't know, southern yellow pine, just to keep it simple, you're using 3 2x8s, and I'm allowed to span 3 2x8s. It's allowed to carry joists up to 7'9". So if I were to build a deck, I couldn't span no more than 7'9" with 3 2x8s, or 6'2" with 2x8s, 2 2x8s. So you can use this chart to understand the beam spans. Again, just to highlight, every deck has floor joists, and any weight that floor joist bears onto another location, like here, that's a supporting beam. And that's a supporting beam because it's carrying the load of those floor joists. Or it could be a beam right here, wherever the case may be. But if that piece of material is carrying the load of the floor joists, we're going to size it as a beam. Okay. Okay, that's enough for this video. I'll catch you on the next one.